The NFL season is finally here. We've got a great game coming up on Thursday night, September 5th, Thursday night, as the Baltimore Ravens are looking to avenge their loss in last season's AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs, who are beginning their run at the first ever three-peat Super Bowl champions here. It's going to be a phenomenal game. It's a great way to start the season. Ryan and I, we are going to be doing weekly prediction videos for both teams throughout the entire season. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you have not already. And go ahead and while you're at it, like this video and leave a comment and let us know who you think is going to win and the final score of the game as well. As you can tell, I'm super excited. It's fun kind of working out. First time doing that little intro skit there. And Ryan, just what an amazing game. I was even too looking at last year's AFC Championship and looking at some of the stats here as well. And Baltimore, obviously Baltimore's going to want revenge, but Baltimore almost, you make a serious argument, should not have lost that game. Kansas City probably shouldn't have even been playing in the Super Bowl. And it's going to be interesting to see just kind of how Lamar Jackson feels about this game. You know, Jim Harbaugh, we saw it last year with the Lions. They came out hot against Kansas City Chiefs. But what's weird, though, too, about it, the Chiefs have weirdly, I think, gotten better. Last year was supposed to be their year where they lost a lot. But then they still somehow won the championship game, and it seems like maybe they got some parts improved throughout the team. But what are your overall thoughts on these two teams coming into the 2024 season and coming into this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a AFC Championship preview, not just a rematch for this season. And kind of looking at what both of these teams have done, I think I'm really interested to see the Nate Wiggins, Xavier Worthy matchup. Both of those guys were taken in the late 20s. And I really look forward to seeing that matchup as a whole. This Ravens defense definitely, I think, brings an interesting dynamic to the table. They got a little bit older in the secondary last year, so I think one of the things they did was kind of bring in some more youth and some more depth there. And I'm very excited to see that. They kept a lot of their pass rushers that helped them have the season that they did last year. And then I'm also excited to see this new look Rams offense with Derrick Henry, or this Ravens. I keep saying Rams. This new look Ravens offense with Derrick Henry in the backfield. I think that's going to be really interesting to watch. You have a lot of finesse and speed and elusiveness in Lamar Jackson, and then you also have probably the best downhill runner in this era of football. I don't even know if I should put probably in front of that with Derrick Henry. And I mean, all in all, like this Ravens offense has the potential to be really explosive. Zay Flowers is coming into year 2. Rashad Bateman hopefully can stay healthy throughout the majority of this year. It looks like he's going to be healthy coming into this game. So I'm really looking forward to this matchup. I think it's going to be really intriguing. I didn't talk a whole lot about the Chiefs. I felt like the Chiefs made a lot of lateral moves. Like they brought back a lot of players. Like Willie Gay left, and then Leo Chenal is going to fill in his absence. The only real upgrade I know that they made is Xavier Worthy, I think, on the outside, adding some speed to that offense and upgrading over Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore. And then I think Travis Kelce coming in, that he was not healthy at the beginning of last year. He's going to be healthy at the beginning of this year as of the recording of this video. So I think getting him in the beginning of the season is going to be a big boost, I think, for this Kansas City Chiefs offense.
Yeah, no, it's going to be very intriguing for both teams, and we're going to break down a little bit more here. But let's just quickly look at what the betting markets are as of the recording of this video. And so if you want to take a look at it, check out the link down below, BetUS. They have great odds and some fun promotions going on right now for all first-time players that you're not going to miss. As of right now, the Chiefs are favored. They're 3-point favorite, and the over-under is at 46.5. So it is going to be a tight game. Those 3-point spread games, I've always just like that. I think I might do money line unless if I'm going to pick the favorite. And I think to me, it's tough to go against the Chiefs kind of in this game as well. You've already mentioned some of the things, as you know, like they've improved in the receiving room. That was kind of their weakness last year, and then brought in younger guys, quicker guys. Travis Kelce is going to be fully healthy. And I know also, too, Mark Andrews is going to be fully healthy, so I know that's going to be a thing. But I think there's just a little bit more veteran presence going into this team. While when I look at the Ravens side as well, yes, they do have Derrick Henry, but they do have a pretty young offensive line. Yeah, so Tyler Linderbaum is a stud, yes. But even then, too, looking at it, they have Andrew Voorhees, who tore his ACL in the 2023 combine, and they got him in the 7th round. He's projected right now to be the starting left guard. Daniel Falele, I believe he was from Maryland as well. He got him in the 4th round the same year as Tyler Linderbaum. So good guy. They've obviously developed. Tyler Linderbaum's one of the best centers. But then even too, then they got rookie Roger Rosengarten as well going on the right tackle. So I'm curious. That to me is going to be the storyline. It's obviously Derrick Henry being in the backfield, but how is this offensive line going to hold up, especially too going up against Chris Jones and this defensive front? And so and you still have George Karlaftis as well on that team, and a lot of other good guys. So I think that's going to be the primary battle to me. And just honestly, just like in most games, but it is going to be like who wins in the trenches, but particularly for the Ravens, and you've already mentioned this as well, just how they play the game. They're going to have to win in the trenches, just like most other games. But for them in particular, they do have Zay Flowers, they do have Mark Andrews, they do also have Isaiah Likely, who's kind of almost a slot tight end that they can kind of go and use and provides a different tight end option that I like. And I know you brought up Rashad Bateman, but they're still not really that other number 2 receiver. Obviously, they have multiple pass catchers in the previous games we mentioned. So that's where I'm going to be very curious on how much they run the rock. If they just put Derrick Henry downhill 3 times and just keep on just feeding him, especially if this offensive line is getting good push. Because if they are, and then now you can throw the RPO in with Lamar Jackson, I think that is going to be very interesting to see how Steve Spagnuolo works this up with and tries to combat that with this Kansas City defense there. On the flip side, it's going to be an amazing chess match, I think, between Patrick Mahomes and Jim Harbaugh and this Ravens defense as well. They did lose a couple of guys on the defensive side of the ball: Patrick Queen, Geno Stone, Jadeveon Clowney, technically as well. They lost a couple of corners also. I'm curious to see how the Ravens team just meshes together. And they picked up several other good guys here as well. Actually, no, I'm mistaken. Not really too much in the offseason when it comes to at least in free agency. They did get Nate Wiggins. Curious to see how he does. But curious to see just in the first game how this kind of newer defense meshes together and if some of those guys are able to kind of fill in those roles of the players that they lost.
Yeah, and I do think both offensive lines, the Chiefs have a really good interior. I say that they spent a lot of money on Jawan Taylor, but I felt slightly underperformed last year based on his contract.
Well, he started off well offside the offensive line. Everybody remembers that last game, so I'd be very curious to see if that's if that trend continues.
And then they have Kingsley Suamataia, who's the rookie left tackle that is slated to start. Joe Tooney, Creed Humphrey, I think, are very solid interior guys. And I think Trey Smith has been a fine guard as well. I do think the Ravens will be able to hold their own on the defensive side of the ball. I do worry a little bit about offensively, especially you look at on the depth chart. Roger Rosengarten, undersized tackle. Daniel Falele is a converted guard from tackle. Tyler Linderbaum's a little undersized. We'll see how Andrew Voorhees is in his first game in over 2 years. And Ronnie Stanley will be solid. So it'll be interesting to see. I think this is a really interesting matchup. And one of the things that I think is going to play in favor of the Ravens is nobody has really seen this offense with Derrick Henry in it yet. And I think we're going to see some pretty fun running schemes with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry in the backfield. And I know the Chiefs have Chris Jones, George Karlaftis had a good year. At a certain point, there's just, if you're getting run at so much, there's only so much you can do. I also think that does neutralize their pass rush. I think there's going to be a lot of play action. They're going to try to get Lamar Jackson out of the pocket as they usually have done.
Yeah.
And get him in space to create. I mean, this is a really, really close matchup. I'm very much looking forward to this. So let's get into our actual predictions here. I'm going to throw it over to you, Tyler. Who are you picking in the first matchup of the 2024 season?
I think you hit the nail on the head on what the X factor is going to be is if Derrick Henry's able to run the rock and the offensive line is able to be very effective, it's going to bring one guy up into the box, and they're not going to want to do that because then you're still going to have to try and manage Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers as well, and then you still are going to have to try and figure out Lamar Jackson. So that's where I'm curious. It's going to be a newly constructed offensive line as they have lost a lot over the past 2 years. And I think come January, Baltimore is going to be one of the best teams still in the league just with that setup and with the way that they play. I think it is going to be – I think it's just going to be Kansas City's night. I think it's going to be a 24-20 Kansas City victory night. The Ravens should have won last year. So I know they had 3 turnovers in that game. The Chiefs were able to stymie them a little bit, and I think there was also a lot of nerves on the Ravens side, so a combination. So they are going to come in more prepared. But I think that was the Ravens' opportunity. I think the Chiefs have improved overall. They're going to be, I think, maybe more prepared. As still that core unit of the Chiefs is still pretty much there, while some of the key players in the trenches have moved on, particularly on the offensive side of the ball, have moved on from the Ravens. And I really like the names. I remember talking about Andrew Voorhees and Daniel Falali as well during the 2022 and 2023. 2022 and 2023 off seasons. And so that first time as a full unit, though, I'm curious if maybe there'll just be a couple of hiccups that maybe they won't be able to overcome. So I think it's going to be a great game. Now, if I'm wrong, which I'm never wrong, obviously, I would not be surprised one bit just because this Ravens team is legit. I still think they're one of the top teams in the AFC and one of the few true Super Bowl contenders.
Yeah, I have gone back and forth because I really could see the Ravens going in there and winning, but I do look at just how many mistakes that the Chiefs made in the Week 1 game last year against Detroit and still how close of a game that was. I think the Chiefs are probably coming into this game with the better overall defense as well. So, and I don't know. I think the Chiefs are going to win. I don't envision them losing 2 years in a row in the Thursday night football game. I think they're going to put an emphasis, and they have put an emphasis on not beating themselves, especially early in the season. So I think I'm going to go with the Chiefs also. I still struggle with this one. This is such a close matchup, and part of me does want to pick the Ravens. I just think logic-wise, the Chiefs, I think, have some advantages.
We have our season-long competition, which is starting right now. So if you want to try and maybe get a game up on me or game back, we got a long season. So it's totally up to you. I will say, to your point, though, on like some of the mistakes that the Chiefs made, overall, every team makes mistakes during a game.
Yeah.
Biggest guy, and he's already received so much crap from this, even from that night. But they cut Kadarius Toney, and he's the guy who caused the pick six, which I'm pretty sure put the Lions, if I remember correctly, ahead. And he had a lot of drops in that game. So
yeah,
they've already improved tremendously.
Yeah.
But you're sticking with the Chiefs.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Chiefs here. I think they'll pull it out. I also think that was the first Chiefs loss under Andy Reid in Week 1 since like 2014 when they didn't throw a touchdown to a wide receiver. Like they rarely ever lose coming out of buys and coming into Week 1.
Okay. I have no idea.
To be fair, they rarely ever lose, but
yeah. Leave a comment down below. If you're still with us here, hello, thank you. But leave a comment down below if you know if that is correct and what year it was last time they lost.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap this one up here. If you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe. Leave a comment down below on who you think is going to come out ahead in this AFC Championship rematch here in Week 1 to kick off the 2024 season. And other than that, we will see you guys next time.